Good evening and welcome. This is Joy 99.7 FM. And of course, this is Strong and Sassy because it's Wednesday and it's 7 o'clock. And so we are ready to roll. We're live and interactive on Facebook. We'd love for you to join us there. And then you can see our faces and our facial expressions, and you can be, commenting, and we'll be responding. It'll be like a conversation. So why don't we do that? Anyways, once again, you're warmly welcome. My name is Animwaa Anim-Addo, and tonight we're talking about the art of personal branding. So, we all say we're not judgmental, right? Right? Like you think you're not judgmental, but we kind of are judgmental because when you see someone, you kind of judge them by the way they look, which is why it's important to be mindful of how you are presenting yourself out there. So to have this conversation with me, two very lovely ladies, Animwaa Anim-Addo, who I always say was on the first ever show of Strong and Sassy with me.
I should be on the
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Strong and Sassy Hall of Fame. And the lovely Sangmoko Tete joining us again. Thank you, ladies, so much for coming through.
Thanks for having us.
me.
All right. So let me start with you. I want to shorten. Okay. I'm trying to. So how do your friends call you?
Sang Moko, but you can call me Sang.
Sang. Your friends call you Sang? Not really.
You'd like to be called Sang. I think that sounds.
You think it's yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. So, like I was saying about how we all feel like we're not judgmental, and yet we are.
Yeah, we are and it's fine to be judgmental, although it doesn't mean that you should, always go the negative way for people. But you mentioned as human beings, we are judgmental because it's a natural instinct. It's for survival. Because if you, in the back before modernization, you have to, you look at your environment, you see someone, is this a friend or not? You judge to survive. So yes, that's why we are judgmental. But they say don't judge a book by its cover. But we don't have an option. We
kind of, every time I go to a bookstore, I mean, I almost always pick up the books that are like colorful. And
for me, it's even the titles. The title can make me buy a book.
And it's the reason they have a whole team to think through and make
the branding,
and put it out there.
Yeah, so we'll forever judge a book by its cover.
Wow,
so we can use
that's
it for
quite a declaration. We will forever judge a book by its cover.
That means we will lose out on some things. We will find out later that, maybe this was worth something.
Yeah,
but, hey.
I think as time goes on, we learn how to judge more correctly, more accurately.
To discern.
Yeah.
I remember when you talked about the fact that when, like in the old times past, you judge for survival. I remember I was listening to a TED talk, and I don't remember the speaker's name, but he said that when you meet someone, you immediately place them in one of three categories. Somebody I could love, somebody who could be my friend, or somebody I don't like. And apparently you make that decision in the span of a few seconds of, the interaction. And I thought that was really interesting. So it's almost like immediately you meet someone, you kind of know, okay, I'm going to love them, as in love. I'm going to like them. They could be my friend, or no, not going to like them. That's why so many times, I would say, when I met you, I didn't like you.
Yes.
But
And I have a couple of friends like that. It was mutual. We all said, I didn't like you. You know how we and now we are best of friends.
But is it not interesting that the people you say you don't like them, they end up being, like you're saying, your best friends?
Exactly.
Yeah. So maybe when we say we don't like the person, we rather admire something about the person and we are just
jealous. Who knows? Anyway, so tonight we're talking about personal branding. What does that mean for you?
Well, I think personal branding is how I want to be perceived. I want people to see me, and it's what I've put together with hope that it would give me an expected result. For example, I want to go in a particular direction with my career, so I present myself and sell myself in a particular way, so that I'm attracting such opportunities. And when I approach places where such opportunities abound, they would see me and feel that I belong and I'm part of them. So basically that's it. Whether you want to be in a friend group, build a social network, your career, sell yourself as a business, you need to put up a brand, just like a company would do for any of their products. You have to do the same for yourself.
So we are products. In a way, we
Yes.
are, aren't we? Because we're all selling something.
Yeah. Our personality is what gives us everything. When you are applying for a job, whether it's in the corporate or creative, they look at your personality, and even your career counselor will tell you what do you like, will try to figure out what your personality is and would advise you to a certain line, because it would be easier for you to sell yourself in that position because of your personality. So.
Wow, okay, that's interesting.
Okay, so personal brand, I think, is what distinguishes us from other people. I would like to say what is easily noticeable in a person.
Okay.
So when, like, we are talking about judging people, when you see me the first time, what do you remember about me? When you see me again, what do you remember? What is re-emphasized about me?
So, for example, the first time I met you, which was the last time you were on the show, I mean, so we had the show, and then my takeaway was, oh, you're a very confident person, and you pride yourself in being knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I took away. Is that what your brand is?
Correct. Like I mentioned the other time, I value knowledge. I love knowledge. I like reading. I enjoy it, and I think I've done well to let people know that it's something I like, because if you follow me on social media, you get to know who I am. I'm reading, I'm sharing something. So yes, it's part of my brand.
But you're able to do that without, because before I met you, I hadn't gone on your social media or anything.
Okay.
So you're able to translate that
Offline.
just right. I love that expression. And then, I mean, the same with Amma. First time I met her, walk away, I'm like, okay, this is somebody I don't want to mess with. No.
She just started talking about productivity.
No,
before we-
like
you can imagine.
you don't want to. You don't want to. But then I'm thinking, how much of personal branding is personality? Is it everything, or can you intentionally appear a certain way?
I think personal branding, one key thing is it needs to be authentic,
Great.
so that you can be consistent with it, because it requires consistency. So if you are faking it, if you're pretending to be this personality, you will be exhausted. Within a short while, you won't have enough content to keep going. But when you're yourself, when you decide to project your strengths, you would excel, because you will be consistent. You won't lose content.
Yeah, and when you are inauthentic, people notice.
Yeah, after
people
a while they will see
notice.
through it.
Yeah, and then people avoid you. It takes a toll on your charisma. So it doesn't work. But I think that the reason people are fake is because they do not define who they are, because your personal brand is, of course, you. It's got to do with you. So if you don't know who you are, you don't define it yet, and you just pick up a persona because you admire someone, you pick up a role model who may not even be similar to you, then you begin to act like someone else because you think that this is what is selling, this is what is attractive now, so you are acting out. I don't think it's great. It's not. So authenticity is important. It's very important in personal branding.
So from what you've said, step one in personal branding, because we want people
Be authentic.
to listen and kind of have an evening where someone can sit at a table and say, okay, how do I project my personal brand?
You know, I actually think that the authenticity is actually number two. Number one is, first you need to do an introspection.
Actually,
Figure out
number
who you
one
are.
was know who you are.
Yes,
Yeah,
so you know who you are, and when you know it's on the table, you be truthful to yourself. You know, it's something that sometimes you have to remind yourself that I'm doing this exercise for me. There's nobody here. Let me tell myself the truth. Let me not write down the facade that I give to other people. This is me for real. So when you have that down, now you know what to be authentic about. You know what is supposed to be the authentic you that you are supposed to put out there. So number one is to figure out who you are, what
Okay.
your strengths are, your weaknesses.
So in the brackets of personal branding, which aspects of yourself should you consider in terms of showing, because branding is
strengths.
what you're showing to the world.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you don't want to show the world everything.
Yeah, but your strength. But you need to add some weaknesses to, especially when you are looking to promote yourself online. as a content creator. You need to let in some weaknesses. That is what shows your authenticity, because there's
Okay.
nobody who's perfect, squeaky clean.
Okay, I think by weaknesses, just to emphasize that
Some
you're,
vulnerability.
you have to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not always about your wins. You didn't
people
do
know you
well in
have a
something,
bad day
share
too.
it. There's this chef on Instagram, and she does amazing recipes. One time she showed a recipe that didn't turn out well, and I was like, oh, this is so authentic. And you know, she was down. You could relate. It's so relatable. So that's the vulnerability. I think is also very
Talking
good
about
in-
the chef, the first time I attempted producing a cooking show, I took me by surprise. I the fails
There were so
on
many
set.
fails.
And I was like, ah, but these are the cooking shows. Yeah, then I was like, well, yeah, it's production, of course. You put out only the beautiful ones. But this was me, was very new to this whole thing. So, and I had very limited budget, and I felt we could just hit it just like that and go. And we can even shoot about 3 or 4 episodes in a day. But it's cooking. It's cooking. It doesn't work
And-
like that. I wish I'd seen
It's
such videos at the
unpredictable,
time.
yeah.
Some
Yeah.
years ago. I wish somebody had put that out there
Yeah.
before.
And one of a personality who has really leveraged on being vulnerable is Oprah Winfrey. She shares her
Yes.
highs with us, her
Everything.
lows,
Her weight loss
fa-
journey,
everything.
her relationship with Stedman, her
yeah,
dogs,
abuse
her
as
friendship
a
with
kid.
Gail, their abuse.
And she's
Yeah.
she's such a powerful brand. So I don't know why people now think that you have to fake it, you have to feign
And
something, an identity.
You know, Oprah has always said repeatedly on different platforms how the day she felt so liberated publicly was when she talked about being molested as a
Molested,
child. Like there was a heavy load lifted. Because then it was like, there's nothing anybody can bring out there and use against me anymore. Because she was afraid somebody would use that information against her. When she put it out there, she was able to control the narrative. And then she had more people lean in and say, oh, I can relate, and thank you for sharing your story. It's been helpful. And that even grew her brand. That even grew her brand.
Yeah, so vulnerability.
Makes you relatable.
But the thing is, if you're going to be vulnerable
But not too
publicly,
much.
then you have to be ready for the nonsense.
Yeah.
Because people, and I mean, in right now, you know, the thing is, even right now when you talk about personal branding, like most of it is online.
Yeah.
Because, okay, you'll dress up, you'll look nice, you'll speak well, you go to the meetings. That's like maybe 40%. That's if you're a social media person. And then there's a lot of it on social media. I think of social media as things people can't say to your face. They'll come and type their nonsense. So you come there, you feel like, oh, I've been vulnerable, I'm being honest, and then some idiots from somewhere.
Okay, I think it should be managed. You know what you are comfortable with putting out there. Don't force. That's why we are talking about authenticity. Share what you are comfortable with sharing, because these days there's a lot of cyberbullying, you know, backlash for things like, if you know you can't handle this, you don't put yourself out there. It's not by force. For example, let me use Yvonne Nelson's book for an example. She wrote names. I see Yvonne Nelson to be a strong girl. She's tough. She shared what she wanted to share. She's able to handle it. That's why she shared it. Because she's done it doesn't mean that I should also share this aspect of my life. I may be more comfortable sharing something else. You see that, so that you need to know yourself. You need to know your limits. What will get to you? If you know that if you dress in a certain way or say something in a certain way, or you express a certain unpopular opinion, people will come at you and you can't deal with it. Your mental health is important. It's not by force.
Yeah.
But you know what you can put, you can take, endure when you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
So you should know yourself.
And I think with personal branding, especially with social media age, where when you decide to brand yourself, it automatically can make you into a mini celebrity or popular person.
So,
Yeah,
okay,
micro
online,
celebrities.
you need to know about reputation management.
Okay,
You need
wait.
to-
Before you go far, let's like come back a few
Okay,
steps, right?
okay.
Okay. So I get on social media, I just want to share things I enjoy. I'm not does everybody have to be mindful of the personal branding concept
Yes.
online? And then must you say that, okay, I take a pen and paper. So on social media, I'm going to be one, a serious person. Two, who appears intelligent. Three, who likes Andrea Bocelli. Four, I mean, must. I don't know if you're guessing. Is there a scoping? Is there
I
because
get what you're
otherwise the
saying.
conversation it seems a bit abstract.
That's how I think a lot of people have presented themselves online, especially people who want to create a career out of content creating and be influencers.
Sorry, Amma, if you don't interrupt.
Don't
Oh,
worry.
please, I
Let
think
it flow.
I've
Let it
think we've been
flow.
very fair. I've been very fair.
You
I've
think?
shared
You
the
think? You
floor.
think?
No, let it go.
Especially those who want to build a career as influencers, they tend to they go by like the script, but that
Okay.
also can be boring. People can see through it.
I
It's
didn't
too
know
curated.
that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because then it's too curated. You go on their Instagram feed and you can tell
It's
that this
perfect.
It's perfect. It's just too intentional.
Because
The thing
they,
is-
they like the aesthetics.
yeah,
For
the
someone, that is
aesthetics
their
work
brand.
too. Okay, yeah, but
Okay,
you see,
so for
like you
somebody,
said,
their
I'm a
brand is the
serious
aesthetics.
person.
Okay.
Like you said, but I'm not always a serious person. The reality is that serious person, that person who's an economist, who is a doctor, a physicist, and wants to sell themselves online, they do that. After a while, you also need to let people see
Because
you when you're playing.
because the
That makes you
relatable
more
factor is
relatable.
important. But we also can't be too hard on people, because just like there are people who always look good, they are always on point, and there are people that even when they are depressed they look good, and there are people that they are fashionable but
care.
it's not all the time that they are on point. So I think that when it comes to the Instagram feed, people like to be very intentional about how the feed is looking, how they are presenting themselves. For me, as long as it is who they are, that's why I'm relating it to people who are always looking good. As long as it's who you are and that's what you want to do, it's fine.
So wait, so then some of us are fraudsters. Because we only post Instagram pictures when we have come to work and we've done makeup and we are looking nice. But on the regular day, please, if you see us working at some supermarkets, you'll be like, hey, sis. So then, is that being fraudulent, or is that saying, okay, this is for the gram, this is for the real life? Because there's no way I'm wearing fake
I
lashes
think
to go and
that
buy.
also makes you so much of a product than a human who's trying to sell a personal brand. Because if you're a human being, you are trying to put out a brand. You want it to have there should be some humanness around it. Just like unless you're an influencer and your whole page is a product, like makes your image a product. So you're trying to sell your image for money, where you are representing makeup brands, and also at all times, all your content, you want to be
Has to
fully
be-
glammed up.
okay.
Because then you're selling. It makes perfect sense because there's a purpose. Your image is a product you're selling.
Okay.
But when you have a personal blog that you have online, you want to make it more personal, more human. And sometimes you want to show your face. That's why somebody who is an influencer to a skincare brand has to show their face from time
Bare
to time,
face.
bare face. 'Cause
So
you
if
want
you're
to be
not an
sure
influencer, you're just a regular person,
so be your regular person online. Even that, you still put your
you're
best
still
foot
gonna
forward.
judge
Okay,
me.
but what I want to
But there are content creators who, excuse me to say, don't live in a fancy place. Okay, they live in the regular compound house, and they are they have hundreds of thousands of followers, and they are showing their regular life. They are hopping on trotro from here to there, and that's their content. They also have following. The funny thing is, you read the comment and you still have people saying they're faking it. Even in that, they call them fake. And the person who shows only the fancy ones, penthouses every day, is also being termed as fake.
Okay, but
Okay.
I think that let's come back to the basics. Personal branding, whether you like it or not, whether it's active or passive, you have a personal brand.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
think that people should know that it's a conversation that is important for everyone. You need to be very conscious about the image you are putting out there. And you
Whether
need to,
social media
Yeah,
or
or-
real
yeah,
life.
because
yeah,
you need to
yeah.
be online and offline.
yeah, people, you need
consistent.
to let people know who you really are, and they will decide if they like you or not. And I think from time to time too, you need to audit. You need to ask people,
brand audit.
ask friends, ask colleagues, family members, how do they see you? Is it consistent with who you think they see? Because sometimes we think that people, for instance, you may think that you are friendly, but maybe people are seeing you to be a very what do you call it, unfriendly person.
Yeah.
So that consistency, otherwise it will lead to a crisis. This is not consistent. Who you say you are is not consistent with who other people think you are. So that's also important.
But
That's
you should
a really
also
good
understand
point.
that they are going to. It doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect at keeping both the same at all times. That's why there's a saying: be careful about meeting your idols, because when you see them afar, you look at their brand. When you meet them offline, you'll be expecting the same, and maybe they won't give you that same.
Some people
warmness.
exceed expectations.
But it's also
actually,
because no, maybe they're having a bad day.
no, in a good way. I mean, there are people who you admire online, and when you meet them, you're actually blown away.
Yeah.
Because you're like, wow, your everything it says on the cover.
Yeah.
And some.
But maybe too, you're saying that because you met them on a very good day.
Well, everybody has good days and bad days.
Because we are human. I
Yeah.
mean, we go through things. I mean, it's normal.
So
Bad
as
hair
much as
day.
we preach consistency, we also need to understand we're human, and sometimes you're going to go off script. We are going to lose it a bit, even though our strong suit is presenting ourselves as that. But there are going to be days that you are just overwhelmed. You are just having a very human moment, and you won't be presenting yourself like you should. There are days that you go makeup free for months. And
Do
then
you
sometimes
have
want
to
all
be
glammed up all the
conscious
time.
of your personal brand all the time?
I think it will be a lot of work. I personally, right now, I like to be as I want to be all the time. I don't like that kind of stress. I think it's too much to carry
I
on. I
think
have other
that
things that I should be
If you
worried
know
about.
who you are and you define your brand very well and it's authentic, you don't need to bother about whether it needs to be that conscious all the time, because you are being you.
Okay,
You are
Try not
being
to
you.
sell perfection.
Okay, let's break it down. You said if you know who you are and you're confident in your brand, how do you become confident in your brand? As in, how do you start to portray or to put out that brand so that it grows to the point where you're confident in it, therefore you don't always have, I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Because
Okay, everybody has a brand, but there are strong brands, there are weak brands. So is that what you're talking
no,
about?
I'm saying, okay, this is me, right? My personal brand is, like you said, when people meet me, what they take away, or
Yeah, what they
what
notice.
makes me different from other people. How much do I have to work on that, and in what period for it to be solid? For me to then be able to have those lax days where I'm not so conscious, because otherwise it's beginning to sound like it's work. It's every day.
It's not supposed to be work. It's not supposed to feel like work.
Well, unless you're an influencer. No, that's the truth. Because that's how a lot of influencers feel that way. Because it's their work. An influencer who
Their work to do what? To post about them, or
I'm not even talking about images, but even just real life.
Whose image is a product, so they create a whole brand around it online. Even offline, they need to match up, because the people following them online get to meet them in person, and these people can cause them crisis to their brand when they come out there, and they'll be sneaking in pictures of you and things out there. You need
okay,
to.
so
you
I
want
think
to
that
control it.
it's also important to manage expectations about your personal brand. So for the influencers, if you are always taking pictures in 5-star hotels, bougie places, and you know that over a period of time, this is the image, the impression people have, then you can mix it up once
go
in a while.
to a chopper or something.
Yeah, if you know you can't sustain it, it's in your hands to manage.
Yeah,
I
but
think
the
you have
thing
to
is
manage
that
people's
because
expectations.
of the false impression out there that you can only make money as an influencer when your brand is that of luxury.
Is it so?
Extreme
We
wealth.
see
No,
all
that's
sorts
what
of
I'm saying. It's a wrong
influencers.
impression, but that's the impression. So anybody who thinks of being an influencer immediately thinks of, I need to do this. But I must say there's some pressure when when you have some fame, no matter how micro
comes with the
or
terrain.
macro it is, there's this pressure when you step out there. Expectations. Sometimes it's not even said, but it's self-imposed, because you start thinking, are they having expectations of me?
Yes,
Do they want me to do this?
Again, I think that goes back to the point that Samoko made in the beginning, that if you're confident in who you are, I don't need to this. What are the expectations? This kind of goes on. So, for example, most people know me by my voice. So if I go into a place, I have more people responding to when I speak than when they see me.
You.
But then there's also the people who know me from Roverman, so I've seen me on stage. I've never gone anywhere. But one day I was buying. It's okay. let me move on. I've never gone anywhere and felt any pressure of any expectation. I know that, okay, if I go somewhere and I speak, people will know that, okay, this is who you are. But it's like, okay, that's my job. This is me. I'm wearing my shorts, my t-shirts, my chaliwati. I'm walking with my kids. What do you want us to do for you?
See, let me tell you the difference between you and the people who have that problem. Most of the people have that problem. With social media, it's been quite easy to get fame because of social media. You could go viral, and the next minute you're famous, and you're not even earning an income. There's no monthly income coming from anywhere, but your face is all over the place. I've actually dealt and worked with a number of influencers. TikTok, it makes it even easier for you to become very popular.
Yeah, of course.
And then the next minute, 1 minute you are in a shack somewhere with your phone, and then you just make a video, you're viral, you make more, you have 1 million followers, and you haven't even made one CD off it yet. You step out and everybody is looking at you. Some people even see you, and just because they think you have some fame, they have an expectation that there's more money with you.
That's their
so
business.
They make requests. No, even for the most confident person in that position, if you're not careful, for some time you are going to think, am I supposed to be doing something? Am I supposed to be living in a different way? It will take you a minute for you to say, oh, I can just present myself like this. This is the truth out there, and this is one truth I've heard with different people say. I remember the first few times, even I went to certain places and I had some people recognizing me, and I had to go like, ooh, oh, what's happening? Because I had no idea. So right after school, I had featured in a series with for Peter Sedufia, and it was something that at the time I did casually. I didn't think anything would come of it. And I'd even forgotten about it. It had been like 2 years, 3 years. So I go somewhere and somebody's like, oh, madam. And I'm like, okay, hi, hello. I thought it was just calling me madam because they didn't know my name. And they start making reference to this. Where is Suarez? Where is this? Where is that? I'm like, okay, what's happening here? And then the person goes to call more people. And now I'm asking myself, oh, am I presentable enough? Am I like in my best self for them to see me? Because I had no idea. I had to come home, go online to find out that apparently videos of that had gone, should I say viral or something. Few months later, the producer decides, let me even put this at the cinema. This was supposed to be a series. I got there very late thinking it was just going to be something casual, and the crowd, I was like, wait, it looks like we are almost getting a cult following. 8 years later, about 8 years later, the show just went on Netflix. And like the pressure is coming all over again. I'm like, I thought nothing of this back then. But the first time that I saw somebody had actually seen this and recognized of me, I know the rush that came.
How did you manage it? Did you change in any way?
No, I didn't. But like I told you, in that very moment, I was like, whoa. But when I got home, I had to tell myself, you can't let anybody put pressure on you. But somebody might take a couple of months before they remember not to let this pressure carry them. I mean, we are not on the same tangent. Some people would take a while to get there. And unfortunately, they might have the wrong people around them who tell them, you need to
That's why such conversations are important for people to understand what personal branding is. We spoke about authenticity so that they know that I don't have to feign an identity to be accepted, because we know people who have been themselves, shown their weaknesses, and still people like them. They have a bigger following and all that. So it's you don't have to feel pressured in any way. You don't.
I mean, I like that. That you don't have to feel pressured in any way. And I totally agree with you, because if you're confident and you're authentic, you'll be judged regardless, and people will think whatever
Yeah.
they want.
They'll
to
still
think
think
of
it's
you.
fake.
But I mean, it is what it is. I am who I am. Okay, so I want us to move to the how to, because we've kind of done the inner. Okay, be authentic, know who you are. Now, how do I begin to put myself out there? What are the highlights of my life that I want to put out there when I'm going somewhere? If I want people to think this, how do I appear that? Do you get what I'm saying? So we'll dive into that aspect of the conversation when we come back. We're taking a quick commercial break, and of course the text lines are open: 055-1111-997. Send us your questions and your thoughts on personal branding, how you present yourself to the world, and when we come back, we will do that. Don't go anywhere.
This is the biggest and the most exciting culinary show in Ghana. 6 tertiary schools presents 3 budding chefs each to battle it out here in the kitchen, knife to knife. It's time to find the toughest, smartest, and the most creative team. Which school will win the ultimate prize and earn the bragging rights as Ghana's tertiary school with the best chefs? Join me, Michelle Adeku, and the judges as we discover the best team who will serve the most amazing cuisines. This is Big Chef Tertiary. Big Chef Tertiary. The kitchen has no boundary.
Okay, so like I said, we're going to talk about the how to now, but let me just take a couple of your messages. This one says, not this one, it's one about personal. Okay, truth is, one can't have a second chance for first impression that they're giving themselves. So consider and reconsider a thought or an action, the timing and the place before you release. Otherwise, you'll be trending for the wrong reason, which is so true. I remember when I was growing up, the older woman always say that you can't get a second chance for first impression. And I always thought, well, the people I met the first time, I didn't like them. The second time, I thought they were okay. But the third time, they were my friends. So why can't we have a second chance for first impression?
You may not get the chance to meet them again. Some people.
If I'm not going to meet you again, then why do I care what you think?
Well, sometimes we care about what impression they are taking away, because you don't know where they are going to tell your story.
Yeah, it's true. Sabe lawyer and Kokosa people. But anyway, so let's talk about how to project the personal brand. So if I want to look, I'm going out, stepping out of the house. I want to be perceived as somebody who's lively, who is fun, how do I do that?
Okay, it's good you mentioned stepping out. The first thing is that a personal brand does not exist in obscurity. You need to step out. You need to go out there, especially for professionals. We need to see your LinkedIn profile, your Instagram, Facebook, whichever. Come out there. Let's see what you do. You know, you give a speech somewhere, post it. Write something, share it. People are in obscurity, and this is affecting people's professions, like their career. Let us see what you do.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Let us see it. Share it.
Minister Neponi. This you just talked about that, the obscurity thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a time when you speak of yourself, it's like you're blowing your own horn. Like, why am I gave a speech somewhere. It's like, hey, I'm trying to, but it looks like it's not like that anymore.
Things have changed. Yeah, the more we see you, the more we believe in your strengths.
Yes,
the more we engage you, the more money you make. Yeah, so things have changed. They say adepanetone. It means that, if you are that good, you don't need to talk. It's no longer so. It's no longer
so interesting.
That's not true. I think that has held a lot of people back for so long.
I also think it has made a lot of people who are not as good as they are just because they can sell themselves.
When they say empty barrels make the most noise. So you feel like when you go selling yourself, you'll be considered an empty barrel. So you stay back, and people with little confidence do it.
Empty barrels.
Like, you do it with confidence. And the thing about doing something afraid is that over time you become confident. As you keep doing it, you start trusting yourself. You start to be like, oh, I don't care if I make a mistake or what. Which is something even I am still learning. As somebody who produces media to put out there, sometimes even things that have been commissioned to do, I feel I'm like, it's not good enough. I need to redo it again. I've lost so much money in the beginning, and I had to come to a point I'm like, well, you're going to get better as you sharpen. Like, you have to keep doing it. It's the same way. If you want to be confident, you need to go out there, try it, fail, go and try again.
So we should be putting ourselves out
Put
there.
yourself out there.
So how do you decide what to put out there?
Okay, so let's say, what are you interested in? You're interested in fashion. How do you put yourself out there? Dress, take pictures, post them, write. Blogging is also a very powerful tool for personal brands. Take speaking opportunities. Go to TV stations, talk. Let people see you, write, vlog, because like I said, it can't happen when you are indoor. So let people see what you do. You can write, you can take pictures, you can do videos, YouTube. That is how people will see your strength, so that you become an authority in that area and you get a following. That's how it's done.
Okay, so you pick the things that you do which you enjoy,
Yeah.
and you begin to put them out there.
Let people see, be a voice in a subject. Be
in
a
the
voice.
thing that you but then I guess that would mean be an expert first.
No.
It's not always the case. You gather expertise as you go along.
But do you want to do a vlog if you're actually ignorant about what you're vlogging about?
Of course, if it's something you're interested in, is a strength, you are not that ignorant. You learn as you go.
But I would tell you that you don't need to wait till you found your interest yet. When it comes to creating such content, you don't even have to wait for that. That is what has kept a lot of people in the room still waiting to be sure that it's something they are very interested in before they can put it out there. Right now, a lot of things can be content. The fact that you are even discovering your interest, learning and failing, that's even content. People would watch. Before you know it, try so many things, and then you settle on one as you go. This comes to me really easy. That process of finding out, you can also put that out, that you can try fashion, makeup, mechanic, kinky making, ice cream making. Like, you can be trying it all.
Whatever you're doing.
Put it out there till that one
Irrespective
that
of
makes you smile.
your level of
feel
expertise,
good.
there's someone you know better than who would want your content the way you do it, the way you say it. So there's this image consultant in South Africa who will tell you that we can be 10 image consultants in the same place. There's that one person who come to you. And sometimes you mentioned TED Talk. You listen to a number of TED Talks, but there's one person who will say something in a particular way that
resonates.
Yes. So
Mel Robbins did
expertise,
that.
those things cripple people from making a move. You don't need to be the Cristiano Ronaldo of something. Any level is fine for someone.
Apart from some specific things like medicine and
medicine,
like
yes.
come and giving life and death advice and things like that. I mean,
Of course.
Yeah, but even with that, no, wait, let me finish. Even with that, so let's say you like to read and know about stuff. Okay, so you like to read even journals, published journals from medical, like, and your content is all about the medical journals you've read. Like, you just read about this research. 5 things I figured out from this research why you should be eating eggs.
Once you tell us you are not a medical
one egg
doctor.
every day. Yeah, and you always, even the medical doctors still put out a disclaimer for what they are putting out there. So somebody who is not, the thing is that you would even attract more following. You might even attract more following than a doctor. Because people find it relatable. They're like, you're speaking in plain language. And they're like, it's one of me. Somebody's like, I am always so conscious about diseases, and I found somebody like me who goes one step further, reads everything, and comes up with something to tell me. That alone can get people to follow you.
And sometimes your personal experience, maybe you dealt with a disease, you overcame it, how you went about it, what you ate, exercises, you can share it.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a certified medical practitioner.
But always put a disclaimer that you're not giving an advice on how to solve a problem, but this is what you figured out, or this is what you read about.
So in the whole personal branding of putting ourselves out there, you guys are saying that you don't necessarily have to put your best foot forward, just put a foot forward.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
And it
more
gets
important.
better.
Yeah.
Before
then
you
it
know
gets
it, you
better.
figure out whether your left or your right is the best one.
But how does the audience treat that figuring out process? I mean, yes, I get that people will enjoy the fact that you're figuring it out, but then there's also the people who will come at you.
It's their
the
business.
even the experts, people who have certificates to support what they are saying and putting out there, even they come across some hate. It takes
But you know
time
that-
for them to their content to gain traction and they go viral. It still takes time. Even that is for content creators. I'm sure we are not saying everybody should be a content creator, like as an influencer content creator. That's not what we're saying. But
Yeah.
whatever it is you're doing, the person who's so good, even that person still gets people challenging them.
And I think that what viewers have to know is that if they must like you, that's why they are there. So if they think that they have
Sometimes it's
issues
not,
with you,
but
they should go
give
to
you
another
views,
person.
and that can make you money.
They don't have to like you. They give you views and it makes
And
you
that
money.
makes you
Wow.
money.
So I guess right now the whole personal branding is really on about social media. Majority of it.
But you have to make sure that your,
Your
offline
offline
is
matches,
consistent with the online.
Okay, so let's talk about the offline. How do we present ourselves offline in a way that is attractive?
Okay, not too different from online. Make sure, of course, dress well. Dress well. First impressions, dress well. Look the part. Speak well. Good character. You have to be welcoming, smile. You don't gossip. How are you behaving? Your etiquette. These are the things that count offline. Because people would feel you more. Your etiquettes will show, your mannerisms, personal hygiene. Because we can't smell you online.
Yeah.
So we can smell you in person.
Yes, these are the things that you have to be
Be mindful of the
for
way that you
offline.
present yourself. And I guess also understanding that the way you dress says a lot. Because sometimes you can look at somebody, they're dressed really nice. You can tell, oh, she's a tomboy. Or, oh, okay, she's a this or she's a that. Or it doesn't matter.
Let me share this interesting story with you. Yesterday in the office, someone came in. My friend stepped out and a man came in. A lot of men came there, so you don't know who it is. I'm not talking about you.
No,
So someone came in and I had a call from my friend that her handbag I should watch out. Her handbag is here. I should make sure that this person doesn't go near it. Make sure you lock the door. I'm like, why? So when she came back, I was like, why are you asking me all these? Is it because of the man, how he's dressed? So people can even think you're a thief because of your appearance. So judging a book by its cover.
Wow. Okay.
When I was in school, that's film school, I had one of my lecturers, Miss Pra, ask about appearance, and what we perceive about it. And at the time, with, very useful, the useful examples, I was like, oh, you shouldn't judge somebody by what they dress, like how they dress up. And when she was like, okay, I need you to do, let's develop a character sketch. So character sketch is how you define the voice and mannerisms of the character, somebody playing a role. It's like, okay, so this person is ABCD, a sex worker, does this, does that. How would you costume the person? And I was like, okay. And that gave me, what she was trying to tell me, that you already knew that this and this is what I'm going to let the person wear to depict that role. So that should tell you that how you appear really counts. People make an impression on that. You can't say, oh, I'm dressed like this, but don't judge me as such. You will be judged.
Okay, so like I said, you have to be mindful of even within the boundaries of dressing well, exactly what it is that you want to.
Yeah, but these days standards are changing. Before, like wearing an anklet, just to cite an example, they'll tell you that don't wear an anklet, it's for prostitutes. But now you see lawyers, more professionals are wearing anklets. They have more than one pierce.
Yeah, welcome
Which
to
is-
the pierce,
yeah.
the piercing.
So I think
the
that
pierces.
we should also be mindful of the changing times. it's you have to be flexible. As much as we are judging, our judgments are informed by maybe when we're born. Gen Zs, millennials, they don't care about certain things.
But I think that usually we don't use just one or two things to make. There's a major one that makes a person immediately think of you as something else. You know?
So let me give you an example. We had a guest on Strong and Sassy many years ago, come on, and so she came on the first time. She met me. She didn't say anything. I think she came on the second or third time, and she was we're talking about something to do with God, and so of course I had an opinion, and so when we finished, she was like, "Oh, I didn't realize that you were a Christian," and I was like, "Why?" Because everybody knows that I am a Christian. If you are with me for 5 minutes, you will know that I am a Christian. She was like, "Oh, because of your piercing, I just thought that, you're not." I was like, wow. But then I started to make a conscious effort to observe people's judgment of. And I realized that, yes, I mean, it's like that be it. Like, yeah, you're not because of this. So sometimes it's not even like it's a major thing, or it can be something as little as an extra earring, and suddenly you're a pagan.
No, but see, let me
You're
tell
a heathen.
based on the same example, let me tell you how I perceived you. in
Oh,
terms of your faith.
wow. Oh, gosh.
I
Okay.
knew that you had something to do with Christianity, but I always considered you as very, very liberal because of your opinions and how you talk about things. Made me consider you. I think, yeah, she goes to church. She does it a little more, but she's very open-minded, liberal, and welcoming to a lot of things. That's what it had nothing to do with
Do you
your
consider
piercings
yourself to be a liberal
or your
person?
dressings. It was how you talk.
I
and
consider
the things, your opinions on things.
be myself as somebody who does not judge people. But I don't judge people. It's not because I'm liberal. It is because I have been forgiven so much that I will not see you and have an opinion. I will not like, okay, you're on your journey. Jesus loves us all. Maybe if somebody had judged me when I needed help, I wouldn't be who I am today. So I don't think it's liberal. I'm just
But you
really
see,
not.
meanwhile, I will see another very crafty person.
No, the
person
crafty people
can
there,
have-
you can
the
see
person
them
can
and you
have
know that.
different
Hey.
piercings, but when they talk to you,
Hey.
you already know that.
Shabashosha.
I'm dealing with them despite the piercing.
Come on
I'm
now.
dealing because the moment you start a conversation with them, it will come up. You would know. But with you, a person that when they meet you the first time, they will need some time to figure out that,
To see
wait,
that,
I'm
oh.
actually dealing with somebody who's a born again Christian.
It's actually helped me a lot because then people are more open.
Is it something you manage that when people see you, they shouldn't think that you are a very conservative Christian?
I'm not
Is
a
it
conservative.
conservative?
I'm
Oh,
a shouting in church on chairs, jumping, killing demons Christian, but it's not. It doesn't lead. Like, it's not, because I find that for those that it leads, and everybody is different. Everybody's called to different things. I find that for the people that I'm passionate about, if I lead with that, they would never come close to me. I would never have, the kind of access that I want. So why would I lead? I want to give you Jesus, but if I present myself in such a way that you're not interested in even hearing about him, then I failed.
I think
So, I'll pull you in, and then when you get in and you are like inside, then I'll catch you there. I was like, so I guess it's a strategy. I guess. Are we out of time? I think we're out of time. Wow, you guys are so dramatic. One gospel song, I already calling me also. Let's wrap up. So your final thoughts.
Oh, hi, Abba Benjamin. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, do you know that every time I ask
know,
her a
right?
question, then you answer with your own question that you've written?
Really? No, Abeku, you need to help me. I think
You need more than
what
Abeku's
you
help.
do to me is not fair.
I think it's my fault. Samwakwa,
yes, darling.
your final.
Everybody has a personal brand. Whether you like it or not, you have to be active about it. Don't make it passive, and do not be afraid to change your brand when you want to. Feel free to change it. Don't be tied to something. We mature. We change our minds. That's the beauty of humanity. Change. We develop. We have new experiences. that inform our values, our strengths can change. So feel free and change.
And I like
whenever
that.
you want to.
Rebrand.
Yeah.
The power of rebranding. Yes. Madam, you have the floor.
I would say that
When you finish
should
there, you close the show for us.
Thank you. I would say that you should do what you can afford to do, so that it's easy to stay authentic. Don't look at somebody's dance to determine how you're going to be dancing, because the crux of it all is that it needs to be very authentic, so you can keep up, so you will never run out of content. So just keep it simple and within your means.
And keep it authentic. And keep growing and
keep
evolving.
growing.
Otherwise, you'll be
As more
stale.
opportunities come, you have more to put out there. So you don't have to jump to 10. There's this thing, people think that packaging, when you package, you're going to be in trouble. Instead of faking to make it, faith it to make it.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Lord. Glory.
God is in me.
Okay, if you say so. I believe you. Well, thank you guys so much. Check out both Samoko and Ama's social media pages. You'll get a pretty good idea of what they've been talking about in terms of presentation and branding. And you'll also see the stark difference between the two of them. When you go on social media. Very different, but of course, everybody portraying what
And that's exactly who I am.
they are on the inside. Yes. All right. Can I close now?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Animwaa Anim-Addo. A very big thank you to Abeku, Mirabelle, Crispy, the whole team. Thank you guys so much for tonight. We're back again next week, Wednesday at 7:00. Maxwell is coming up with the news next. My name is Animwaa Anim-Addo. We'll do this again on Wednesday.